Good evening, sir, and everyone else who is watching this. I will be presenting before you a review of the book titled Triumph of the City by Edward Glaeser. The author is a renowned professor of economics at the Harvard University and has worked and written extensively on economics of cities, especially on key issues such as housing, crime in urban areas, urban innovation, etc. As is suggested by the title itself, this book is a testament to author's belief that cities are the main drivers of mankind's prosperity. He says that we need to take a pause from bashing up cities for their negative social and ecological impacts, as more and more people are today crowding in the urban areas in the world, and we need to start looking at them in a more positive light. The main premise underlying this book is that cities magnify humanity's strength. They bring people together. People live and work together in greater concentration and denser environments, generating new ideas every day and effectively becoming a cauldron of innovation, which is fueled further by a sense of entrepreneurship and competition. He says that in order to grow and prosper, cities need smart people. In this book, he takes us through the role of cities in the process of cultural and material evolution of mankind. He gives example as to how cities have constantly reinvented themselves and continue to attract people to themselves. For example, both New York and London used to be manufacturing centers, but have now evolved as financial capitals of the world and continue to attract a large variety of people to them, especially those who are in their 20s for the job, work and education opportunities, as well as the prospect of getting to meet like-minded people. Also, these cities are now being distinctly associated with different kinds of evolving culture and are equally famous for their cuisines and the variety of art and entertainment that they have to offer. He says that cities attract talent, and this is the main reason for the success of cities like Bangalore and Silicon Valley. According to the author, the development of modern technology has not rendered face-to-face interaction obsolete, and this is again proven by the great concentration that is found in cities of Bangalore and Silicon Valley. Emphasizing the need of education and the growth and prosperity of city, he gives the example of Detroit, which he says was primarily thought with uneducated and semi-skilled car factory workers, which was one of the reasons for its demise, whereas cities like Milan reinvented their education system and continue to reap the benefits of modernization. He carefully breaks down the myth of how cities are ecologically harmful, and he does this by illustrating how suburban sprawl is not sustainable, and why gives reason as to why we must build taller and denser cities. He is in agreement with the Jane Jacobs concept of small-scale residential neighborhoods having mixed use, but he would rather see taller skyscrapers than small two-storied buildings. He wants that cities should have affordable housing and that the local civic government should not restrict building activity on pretext of preservation and some other pretext, as is being done in Mumbai, New York, Paris, etc. Now, that the cities attract poor people is a well-known fact, and the poor people primarily come to cities for improving their lot. Now, this he cites as a positive impact of cities. Quoting the author, cities should help poor people and not poor places. By this, he implies that the local civic governments should invest in providing basic services to the poor people, such as water, education, sanitation, etc., instead of taking up useless and large and meaningless infrastructure projects. He gives the example of cities like Mumbai and New Orleans, where the civic governments have invested in massive and large-scale projects that are supposedly for so-called revitalization of cities, while the poor in their cities are being denied basic services. According to him, that he wants the governments and the people of these cities, that if not managed and governed properly, the same density that spreads idea can also spread diseases. This book hops from city to city and across the globe and examines the various context specific issues that contributed to the growth and decline of these cities. It is interesting how in 200 odd pages he has covered more than 20 cities, which highlights the readability of the book. More than that, however, with respect to his prescriptions, we can say that providing education and basic services to the urban poor seem just about right, but his prescription for making taller and denser cities has to be taken with a pinch of salt. What he's suggesting is a nightmare for urban planners in India, where due to population pressures and lack of technology, we have seen that the master planning of almost all the major cities has been a colossal failure. We can say that the time is not yet right to give builders a free hand in terms of construction activities, etc. And the Indianized concepts that that were launched in the past few years, such as Pura, and the idea of developing tier 1 and tier 2 urban centers in order to offset the inflow of migration into major metropolitan cities needs to be given more of a thought in order to reap benefits of urbanization in the Indian context. Thank you.